but information and education about blockchain and crypto and that entire world has proved very popular. And I think we'll carry on doing that for the time being. I'm going to pass you on to Oleg. Do you want to introduce our speaker?
Sure. Thank you very much, Larry. Yeah, welcome everyone. Great to see so many familiar faces. I've already been messaging a few people from old times. Yeah, I've the first time I heard about Bitcoin layer 2 solutions, or let's say smart contracts on the Bitcoin blockchain, was like a year and a half ago when I came across RSK. And then when Manu's team reached out to us, I was like, wow, this sounds really interesting. And in December, we got on a call and it just blew my mind. What amazing things these guys are actually building. Stablecoins on the Bitcoin blockchain, real innovation, not just happening in like the typical smart contract platforms, but actually happening on the by far largest and oldest blockchain. So we knew we need to hear more from Manu about his project, and we're absolutely delighted to be hosting him here today. So as always, if you have any questions, write them in the chat. If it's something very immediate, I might bring it up if that's okay for you, Manu. But otherwise, I will wait and collect them, and then at the end, when we do a Q&A, I'll be reading them out, or I'll be giving you the stage to read them out. So now with that, I'm passing the word to you, Manu, and please go ahead.
Okay, great. Thank you, Oleg. Thank you, Devon. Thank you all the community. I'm very happy to be with the London Crypto Monday community. Actually, we've been sponsoring the Crypto Monday Buenos Aires chapter with the NGO Bitcoin Argentina. I'm part of here is a very active Bitcoiner community in Argentina for obvious reasons, but it's a really nice community, and we run these Crypto Mondays in person up to last year, and now this last year actually been suspended. It was a pity, and maybe now it's going to reopen when COVID ends. But anyway, the idea today is to present the protocol, how it works, money on chain, and then make a short demo on the platform. And obviously, you can, Oleg, if you think is appropriate, you can interrupt me at any moment with any question. The idea is to make it as interactive possible. Normally, it's easier. That's why I do it. I do an introduction using a presentation. Then I show the platform, trying to explain most of the concepts of the protocol and the tokens involved and how it works. And then maybe going deep on with a Q&A, completely open. You can ask everything, and I will try to answer all questions. I'm from a business and financial background. I've been working in IT environment with system all my life, but I'm not the tech guy. So if there is any smart contract questions, maybe I'm not going to be able to answer. But regarding all the financial model and how this protocol works for end users, of course, I think I will manage to answer most of the questions. So I will share my presentation. Here it is. Let me please confirm if you are able to see the presentation.
Yes, we can see it.
Perfect. So what is money on chain? It's a protocol. It's I would briefly say that is a bunch of smart contracts, open source, running on RSK blockchain, which is a sidechain, a Bitcoin sidechain. And our main objective is to bring Bitcoin to the mainstream. And why we say that, and what's the problem that we solve? We really think that the basis of a new financial system is within Bitcoin, and it will enable to change the way the world, the financial world works, and we think Bitcoin is really great, but to build on top of Bitcoin, we need some things to make it easier for anybody to use it in the process of hopefully hyper-Bitcoinization. I think it's very far away, the possibility of hyper-Bitcoinization, but in the roadmap for reaching that, we think that there is many solutions that need to be developed, and we are working on enabling some of those solutions. So what's the problem that this protocol, what's the problem that Manuel Chain solves is we are focused on Bitcoin volatility. We really, and myself as a Bitcoiner, of course, I'm not afraid of Bitcoin volatility, but we think it's very problematic for user adoption, for people, for what we call in Argentina, Doña Rosa, Joe Smith, is anybody to use it in their normal life. They are not used to Bitcoin or cryptocurrency volatilities. I would say I will focus on Bitcoin because that's what we mainly focus. And we think that Bitcoin volatility is a problem for user adoption, for people starting using cryptocurrency in general, but especially Bitcoin. And of course, you know that there are several, actually there are nearly 200 projects building stablecoins. And of course, there is Tether with $20 billion in a centralized solution, and there is USDC, and there is DAI, and there is many other solutions. But I would say that most of them are really centralized, and nearly are completely centralized. And as a Bitcoiner, what we mostly like about Bitcoin is not enabling someone to change the rules by themselves unilaterally. So what we are building is what Nick Szabo, our objective is to make what Nick Szabo says a trust minimized protocol, as much trust minimized as possible. Of course, actually the protocol, as I'm going to present and explain, is not decentralized yet, but our roadmap and our objective is to make it as much decentralized and as much trust minimized as possible. So going to the protocol, it's not only we are very well known by the dollar on chain, which is a stablecoin backed by Bitcoin. And when we initially started this project, our main focus was building a stablecoin backed by Bitcoin. But on building that, we realized that we needed many other pieces, many other parts to make that a reality. So at the end, what we have is 4 big components. One is the stablecoin protocol that includes a stablecoin token, which is the dollar on chain. Then we realized that we needed decentralized oracles for running this protocol on RSK. You know that there are many oracles running on Ethereum, but there were none running on RSK. So we analyzed all the protocols providing oracles. We thought for what we were building, None was good enough for what we were looking for. So we decided to build a protocol providing the price of Bitcoin to the stablecoin protocol. That's what we call OMOC, that is now running in a semi-decentralized way, and we are going to decentralize in the following weeks. And then another thing that we found when we were building the stablecoin protocol is in certain conditions, some of the tokens for enabling this stablecoin to work needed a secondary market, and there were none secondary markets, the DEXs or the centralized exchanges running on Rostock, on RSK at that moment. So we decided to build a decentralized exchange, and that's what we call DEX, or for token exchange. It's not very bright, very simple. And that's a decentralized token exchange. And on top of that, as I mentioned, we want to make this as trust minimized as possible. Right now, the protocol has one important centralization point, which is the governance of the smart contracts. And we are in the process of decentralizing that, and to make that possible, we needed a governance token, which is the MOC token, which is going to enable the decentralization of the governance of the protocol. So this is the whole picture, and this work all together. So I'm going to explain first what is the stablecoin protocol. This been running in testnet for 2 years and in mainnet for more than 1 year. We launched this in December 2019, and been growing organically since then. It has 3 tokens. One token is the drone chain, which is backed by Bitcoin. I will briefly, maybe sometimes when we explain all this protocol, we explain first what is RSK and how it works, but I think it is important to explain a little bit of that, because maybe if you say, well, it's backed by Bitcoin, you will say, well, how you make smart contracts with Bitcoin? Well, you know that the capabilities of Bitcoin to doing smart contract on the main chain or on the layer 1 is very limited. So we decided to use RSK. RSK is similar to Ethereum in many ways, but one of the main differences is that the token, the native token, is RBTC, and RBTC, which is called smart bitcoins, are pegged to the Bitcoin sidechain. To the Bitcoin chain, and to mint an RBTC, you need to lock one BTC in the Bitcoin sidechain. So using this RBTC as collateral, we've been able to design this stablecoin, which is called the dollar chain, which is backed by this smart Bitcoin, or Bitcoin at the end. Okay. Then we have the BPro. Actually, the BPro is what you can call a liquidity token in the protocol. And it's been designed mainly for Bitcoin holders. The idea is, if you are a Bitcoin holder and you want to enable this DeFi protocol to work, to flourish, you will add liquidity to the protocol. You will send RBTC, smart Bitcoins. Obviously, to get the smart Bitcoins, you need to convert your Bitcoins to smart Bitcoins. Then you send this smart Bitcoin to the protocol, and you get the BPro. Actually, what you do at that moment is you are minting, you are creating that tokens at that moment. And what obviously, as with Bitcoin, we thought a lot of time on which are the incentives for Bitcoiners to use the Bitcoins and to put it in a smart contract. So the incentive for the Bitcoiners is that this protocol provides free leverage, so you will be exposed to a small leverage, but this leverage, which is different to other options that you have available, it's free. You don't have to pay for this leverage. So if you are long on Bitcoin, if you think that Bitcoin is a great token, that the price will appreciate in the long term, well, you will be getting free leverage on that. So for a long-term Bitcoiner, if you are a holder, for me, it's great. And then on top of that, part of the fees of the protocol goes to appreciate the price of this token. And a very common question is, okay, but I receive these fees separately? No, you don't get it separately. But what the protocol works is all these fees goes like a bag, and all this bag of smart Bitcoins represent all the BPro tokens. So what will happen is that the price of the BPro will increase. Why? Because inside this bag are more smart Bitcoins. And on top of that, also part of the income comes from people doing leverage operations that I will explain shortly. And these people doing 2x leverage operation, to get that leverage that they take for the BPro, they pay an interest rate. So there is two sources of income of RBTC that are increasing the price of the BPro on top of this free leverage. And on top of these three sources of income, the free leverage and the coded income that has two sources, it has a fourth incentive, which is what we call mock liquidity mining, that I mentioned before, the mock token, that is the governance token. An important proportion of this MOC token that is going to be issued shortly is going to be shared on the BPro token holder. So the people who is providing the liquidity to the protocol are actually right now are receiving part of the governance tokens of the protocol. So that's the BPro. I'm going to go a little bit deeper on that. But the third token actually is an operation inside the smart contract. In the smart contracts, you cannot trade this BTCx. These two tokens, you can trade it. You can hold it in your any wallet, in a ledger, in a Trezor, in a MetaMask, in a Nifty wallet. You can trade it. You can secure it with hardware wallets. In the case of BTCx, is a position inside the smart contract, is not tradable, and it's what it could be described as a 2x leverage long position on the price of Bitcoin. So, and this lasts for 30 days. So you send smart Bitcoins, it gets a leverage, and after 30 days, this operation ends, okay? Sorry, I don't know if you are listening to my dog, but it's part of the home music. Okay, so then I'm going to explain a little bit more about the dollar on chain. As I mentioned before, this is a stablecoin backed by Bitcoin. Up to my knowledge, is the only stablecoin completely 100% backed by Bitcoin. And it has several differences with other stablecoins. One, and the most important for me, is that it's 100% backed by Bitcoin. So when you are holding dollar on chain, what in the end you are holding is Bitcoin, but the only difference is that it's pegged to the US dollar. And the other difference is it has a hard peg and it's guaranteed by the smart contract. So if you have one dog, at any moment you can send this one dog or 100 dogs or whatever amount you have of tokens, and you send it to the smart contract and it sends you back RBTC, smart bitcoins, and vice versa. You can mint it. So there is no issuer. You are the issuer. Of course, you can trade it in a secondary market, but one of the biggest difference with other stablecoins is that it's being designed for end users to make it possible to mint these tokens by yourself, and we will show later about that. And one of the other differences, as I mentioned, is it has what we call a hard peg. Of course, this could be traded in a secondary market, but the problem when you depend on a secondary market is that it could happen these things that, for example, this is the price of DAI in March, or this is the price of US. And it's not hard peg. You depend on a secondary market. So one day it could cost $1, the other day could cost $1.06. And this fluctuation, if you are looking for a stablecoin and you want to have one-to-one, well, the idea is to have one-to-one, not 1 to 106, and then the other day is 1.098. So the idea is that you are able to trade, to mint and redeem to the smart contract with a certainty on the price of these tokens. So that's again about the dollar chain. Regarding the BPro, as I mentioned before, it means design. We designed this thinking on ourselves as Bitcoiners. Why I will put my Bitcoins in a protocol. And so, as I mentioned, it has free leverage. So that when the price of Bitcoin increases, this token will increase a little bit more. Of course, if the price of Bitcoin goes down, it will go down a little bit more faster. It has this coded income that I explained. It earns these fees, and it earns this part of the MOC tokens are going to be shared with the BPro holders. And you can trade it and you can hold it in a wallet. This is one of the biggest difference with other protocols. Normally, when you put the collateral, it's like fixed there. In this case, it's a new token, so you can put your smart bitcoins, get BPro, and with this BPro, for example, you can go and take a loan in another protocol. Right now, already it's working. So it's a tradable, and you can hold it with your private keys. So regarding the leverage, this is part of the metrics screen from the protocol. Actually, this is the front end of the app, the desktop app. You can see here, which is the leverage. This is a snapshot from a couple of minutes ago. So right now the leverage was 1.09, and actually you can see the historic leverage of the BPro. And when we design it, there is certain incentives in the protocol, and the objective of the protocol is to have a leverage of 1.1. And up to now, it's been a little bit higher sometimes, a little bit lower sometimes, but all in all, it's been around 1.1 or a little bit more. Regarding the interest, you can see also if you go to the desktop app and you analyze the historic information about the interest that is earned by this token, you will see, for example, now is 0.62 the interest. This is an interest that the BPro is getting on top of the free leverage, and on top of that is getting part of the fee. So this is part of the thing that makes that the BPro increases in price every time, because it is earning an interest. Up to now, any question, Oleg? Maybe I'm going too fast.
There were a few in the beginning. One question was kind of around more understanding where money on chain fits in. Like, is it the protocol itself? Is it something that's built on top of RSK, which is built on top of Bitcoin? Like, how does it fit into the Bitcoin ecosystem in that sense?
Well, regarding that, money on chain is a protocol itself. It's obviously not a blockchain. It is running on a blockchain which is called RSK, which is a sidechain of Bitcoin. Okay. From our point of view, what we say, we are blockchain agnostic. We could deploy this protocol in Ethereum, for example, or in any other blockchain. When we started this project, the only way to make these DeFi solutions using Bitcoin as collateral was doing this on RSK. Then afterwards, we started, actually my partner started thinking about this protocol in 2015, or I think a little bit earlier, before, actually after Tether launch, before Tether launch, he was thinking of building a Tether. Then he realized that Tether had many problems. So he decided to make a stablecoin backed by Bitcoin. And at that moment, there was no technology available. And the first technology available was RSK. And yes, we are building on top of RSK. So it's a protocol, I would say, if you compare it in the Ethereum ecosystem, it would be like an Aave or a Chainlink or whatever. It's built on smart contracts. Obviously, the most well-known stablecoin protocol in Ethereum is Maker, okay? But our model is quite different. So I don't know if I answered the answer.
Yeah. I'll let you, there are a few more questions, but I'll let you continue and then we can get back to them at the end.
Okay, if I'm not seeing you, I just wanted to confirm that everything was okay. So this is the interest. So this is another of the components that I mentioned before. And when we built this, one of the main requisites or the main important things about this protocol to work is that people add collateral, because if there is no BPro, there is no way to issue dollar on chain, because the BPro works as collateral. At the end, the RBTC that are in the smart contract that represents the BPro are the collateral of the dog. So we needed an incentive, and the main incentive for this is, on top of enabling this DeFi and the usage of Bitcoin as collateral in decentralized protocols, is, well, there should be a price incentive. And up to now, this is the historic performance. So we launched like a little bit more than a year ago. When we launched, the price of BPro was the same as Bitcoin because there was no leverage. And if you, for example, one of the questions is, well, what happens if all the people redeem the dollar on chain? Well, what happens at that moment? A BPro will behave exactly like the BTC, because it is not going to have any leverage. So when it started, the BPro, the price of the BPro was exactly the same as the BTC. And this is actually from today, the price of BTC was 35,000 and the BPro was 44. So it won like 23% in 1 year. Okay, actually it won up to 25% in 1 year on Bitcoin. So it's up to now it's been performing really nice. Of course, as I mentioned before, this token has a leverage. So if the price of Bitcoin crashes, for example, this was the biggest crash in the price of Bitcoin in the last 7 years. You know, everybody is aware about crypto crash in March last year. And at that moment, well, okay, when we it started, the BPro started to appreciate, but as it has a leverage, when the price of Bitcoin went down, it lost a lot of this price, but quite fast it recovered. Actually, if you bought BPro at this moment, I would say it was a really very good investment. But well, this is historic performance. This, you can see all these metrics in our webpage. And also there is an API where you can consult many more metrics and analysis on the performance of this token. And this price, this BPro and this BPro price does not consider the MOC token that are actually being shared right now with the Bitcoin holders that are providing liquidity. So we will see also on the demo that if you are holding BPro, for example, in this account, I have a little bit of BPro, and I'm being rewarded with MOX every day, okay? So like more than 15% of the MOC tokens are going to be shared on the people, the Bitcoiners providing liquidity to the protocol. Briefly again, regarding the BTCx, if you are a trader, if you trade in BitMEX or Bitfinex or whatever, you are doing leverage long operations, is an alternative for those kind of traders. Instead of using a centralized exchange, you can use a decentralized protocol. You send your smart Bitcoins and you get a position on the protocol, which is a 2x long position. It charges you a cost. It's a fixed cost till the settlement. This protocol has a 30-day settlement right now. You can redeem your position at any moment, and you will get a refund, proportional of the interest not used in that period. And of course, this BTCx is it uses a 2x leverage, so there is a risk of being liquidated. If the price of Bitcoin goes down 50% in those 30 days, you will lose your Bitcoin. So if you are a trader and you are used to do leverage operations, you can use this. If you are not a trader, if you don't know what you are doing, we would not recommend to use this because, of course, again, if there is a big drop, for example, in March, all the positions in March last year, all the position of all the Bitcoiners that had this 2x long operation, they've been liquidated. Of course, it happens exactly the same in Bitfinex or Binance or whatever you are holding leverage operation. So it's a little more risky. If you are used to that and you like that, you can do it here. The difference is, instead of sending your private keys, you are holding your private keys. Of course, you have exposure to the protocol risk. Okay. Regarding the oracles, it provides, it uses an average of the main exchanges in the world. For example, Bitstamp, Kraken, all the big exchanges trading Bitcoin to USD cash, dollars, not stablecoins. So from that, we take the price of the, and we make the price of the Bitcoin using these price feeders. Right now is semi-decentralized because we choose which are the nodes informing the price feeders. But once we are going to launch these MOC tokens, to be able to run a node, you will have to stake a lot of there's going to be like a competition, And if you are holding MOC, you will be able to run a node. And of course, you will have a big incentive to inform appropriate prices. So this is already running on RSK, and there is already some other projects or protocols running on RSK that are using these oracles to get the price of Bitcoin. And other tokens is not only the price of Bitcoin, it's running other price feeders. So for other tokens, as for example, Reef, which is a token for services that are provided on top of RSK. It's like a third layer of Bitcoin. And I mentioned before, we have a token exchange in certain conditions. For example, if the price of Bitcoin goes down very, very fast, what happens is you are not going to be able to redeem the BPro, because the BPro at the end, it has behind it has smart Bitcoins that are the collateral for the dollar on chain. So you are not going to be able to redeem this token because they are locked for enabling the dollar on chain to exist. So in that case, we needed a secondary market for the BPro tokens. And we built this smart contract to enable this token exchange. It is different to all the rest of the token exchanges or exchanges that are running in up to our knowledge in the world. And the biggest difference is that it's been specifically designed for trading small volumes. Okay, so we've been inspired on the London Gold Fix trading exchange, where it's been trading the gold in London for the last 200 years. We saw how they were trading gold. We've been inspired that, and we have these periodic ticks on which we match all the offers in an order book, and we have an emergent price, which one of the main differences with, for example, the AMM that are running Uniswap or RSK Swap. If you are aware of one of the biggest problems on most of the decentralized and decentralized exchanges is the possibility of doing front running. This token exchange avoids that problem of front running, and also allows the possibility of trading, of making offer with very low volume. Normally what you will have in Uniswap or in all the AMM exchanges is that if you make an offer, you will take all the order book, and you will have a phenomenon that is called slippage. And at the end, it's not going to be very cost effective for you. So this allows people to trade with very, very low volume. So besides Money Chain, as I mentioned before, we are running on RSK. There is many projects, each time more. For example, you have something similar to to Uniswap, which is called RSK Swap. Now being launched a couple of weeks ago. Sovereign, which is, it got an AMM. You can do lending, borrowing of tokens. You can trade it peer-to-peer, these tokens in a mobile wallet, which is called Defiant. You have the dollar on chain, and the BTC is in CoinSwitch. Now Liquidity is also adding most of these tokens. The dollar on chain is in Hodl, in Impactful. So there is a lot of solution being built right now on this second layer, and are enabling the usage of these tokens. The last thing is the MOC token. As I mentioned, it has the main reason for existence of this token is to enable the vote and veto of the protocol updates. If we want to, right now, if we want to change the rules, it's centralized. When we are going to launch this token, actually our plan is to launch it in the following months, in the first half of this year. At that moment, actually, the founders are not going to be able to impose, to propose unilaterally changes. We will be able to veto changes, but not to make unilateral changes. And for holding this token, on top of being able to vote and veto on the protocol exchanges, most of the fees, if you are staking this token, you will get most of the fees of the protocol. The other part goes to the BPro holders. So one part goes to the Bitcoiners providing collateral. The other one is for the Bitcoiners providing the governance. And then on top of that, part of the MOC tokens are going to be reserved for people, for Bitcoiners who are staking this MOC token. So if you hold it and you are not trading it and you stake it, you will have staking rewards, so more MOCs. And the other way to use it is to pay the fees of the platform. Right now, if you want to mint a dollar on chain or a BPro or whatever, you have to pay a fee. Of course, there is a fee for the miner, the Bitcoin miner. You know, RSK uses what's called merge mining. So the miners mining RSK are the same miners that are mining Bitcoin. But on top of paying the miner, you have to pay a fee to the protocol. So right now you pay with RBTC, but if you are holding this token in the near future, you will be able to pay these fees with a discount. So this is a big ecosystem. I'm not going to go again on all this, but this is sometimes when they tell me, oh, okay, this is the stablecoin platform. Yes, it includes a stablecoin. It's the dollar on chain, but it's much bigger. Protocol is really complex and big. Well, luckily, in a couple of weeks, all these pieces are going to be running. Right now, what is running is this. This is running semi-decentralized. This is running, and the MOC is going to be launched in the very near future. So I will show you very briefly the application, the platform, if you are okay, Oleg.
Yes, please. It's
Okay.
always brave to do a live demo, tends to always break down, but good luck.
Yes, it can always happen. Up to now, I've been lucky, but you always have a first time. Let me, I think, okay. So as you see, this is the application, Alpha Manion Chain. If you want to go there, you go to Manion Chain. You have here user access. You go to stablecoin. Sorry, we have this pop up all the time because we want Bitcoiners to add liquidity to the protocol. So it opens this protocol. And actually, first time it's going to appear, well, you need a wallet. In this case, I'm connected with MetaMask. If you are going to use MetaMask, you need to be aware that you need to configure what's called an RCP. So here, no, sorry. So I have added this network in MetaMask. You can use MetaMask or you can use Nifty. The instruction how to access the platform is here in how to. There is an access the platform. And here it explains how to get a wallet compatible with RSK. So what we recommend is to use Nifty, mainly because it includes natively the RSK network. And once you have this wallet, you need to get some RBTC. The easiest way to get RBTC right now is CoinSwitch. If you go to CoinSwitch and you have Bitcoin, you can trade Bitcoin to, you put here RBTC. Hopefully there is liquidity because there's a lot of demand of RBTC. So here you can send, and as you see, is very the fees, the fee that they charge for swapping BTC to RBTC is very low. If you are an advanced user, an advanced Bitcoiner, you are used to using Ledger or for example, with Electrum, you can use, there is a decentralized way to access your RBTCs, which is in our blog. If you go to our blog, there is a guide to get using the two-way peg. So this is like the hardcore Bitcoiner way to get your RBTC. Here it explains how to send your BTC to a smart contract that converts your BTC to RBTC. So once you already have your RBTC and you have it in your MetaMask wallet or your Nifty wallet or your Trezor wallet, which you can connect to the MetaMask or the Nifty wallet, you can use the platform. So I have, for example, here a little bit of RBTC. And if I want to mint, to create dollar on chain, I go to mint redeem. It's tell you exchange, but actually you are not exchanging, you are minting. And I could mint, I don't know, $30. And if I want to mint $30, it will tell me the approximately how many RBTC is going to take. And if I confirm, it tells me that I have a small fee that is charged by the protocol, which is 0.1%. I confirm, and then it will appear the MetaMask or Nifty wallet. If you are going to use MetaMask, please be aware that MetaMask by default uses the gas fee from Ethereum. So you have to configure first time the price of gas in 0.06. If not, you are going to be very unhappy, and a Bitcoin miner is going to be very happy because you are going to pay a lot of fees. So if you confirm this, if you use Nifty wallet, you don't need to care about that. That's why we recommend using Nifty wallet, because by default, this gas price is set on the recommended price by RSK. So as you see, this is pending. This is going to be mint in the RSK blockchain. Here you can go to see the transaction in the Explorer. So it will, hopefully it's going to be mined by a Bitcoin miner. It normally takes like 20 to 40 seconds. Actually, it's already, after 20 seconds, it's been mined. And you can see here how much this transaction costed. Let me update this. Well, it will need some more confirmation to have the price, but normally it costs minting right now doing this operation, independent of the amount of dollar on chain that you are going to mint. It will cost you like 60 to 80 cents of a dollar for minting, and for redeeming more or less the same. Okay, this is for minting, so you are really using an advanced smart contract. That's why it's, for me, it's expensive. If but compare obviously with the cost of executing this kind of complex smart contracts in Ethereum, it's like 100 times cheaper to use RSK. But that is for minting. And maybe, yes, here, as I told you, more or less the gas fee is 80 cents of a dollar. And the platform fee was 3 cents of a dollar. But for example, here you have a transfer. I did a transfer, and the cost of transferring the tokens right now in the platform costs like 2 or 3 cents of a dollar. So it's very, very cheap to use this second layer of Bitcoin, and it's very fast. As you saw, it only takes like 20 seconds. Of course, it's not Lightning, but there is a solution which is called Lumino Network that is going to be, actually its launch is working. Now they are building what's called light wallets for enabling the usage of Lumino. With Lumino, the cost of transferring these tokens is like nearly nothing. So I already mint my dollar on chain. If I want to send it to anyone, I go to my wallet, and I can send from my wallet to another wallet. I put send here, and it will ask me which is the receiver, how much I want to send, and I send it. The process to mint in BPro is also exactly the same as I showed you before, but in this case you have to choose BPro. So for example, obviously now the BPro is more expensive than the RBTC. So if you want to mint 0.001 BPro, it will take you more RBTC. In the case of willing to mint BTCx, the only difference that you will see here is the interest rate. So now, on top of the MOC token fee, you will see an interest rate. This interest rate is part of the fees that the BPro holders get. So one part goes to the mock token holders, and the other part goes to the BPro.
Manu, there's one question for clarification. Yeah. Patrick is asking whether it's wrapped Bitcoin or like something similar like wrapped Bitcoin.
Well, wrapped Bitcoin, from my understanding, is a quite centralized solution. There is Bitcoin and other, it's like a custodial solution of Bitcoin. In the case of RBTC, there is no custody of these tokens. There is a lot of wallets that need to sign this, but it's all automatic and is quite decentralized. Much more decentralized than the wrap BTC solution running on Ethereum. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you.
So this is most of how the platform works. As you see, it's very, very easy. Or you mint or redeem these tokens. The other thing that you can see is the metrics. I could go very deep on this or not at all. But here it shows you, for example, how much is the coverage in the system. So for example, now for each dollar on chain that is minted, there is $9 in Bitcoin as collateral. That's why the total coverage is 9. We are now in a bull run mode. Normally the target coverage is 4, but if the price of Bitcoin increases very fast, as it has happened in the last weeks, what we have is a average of the price of Bitcoin, and we consider for the coverage this price. So we will, the protocol will ask the system to add much more collateral to being able to mint dollar on chain. So for example, now the minimum collateral that the system will ask for anyone to mint dollar on chain is 8. So you will need at least to have $8 in RBTC to be able to mint dollar on chain. But don't worry about that. This is a lot of metrics. It's going deep on the protocol. So for example, now available to mint is $150,000. It's already mint more than 1 million. In the system is more than 278 RBTCs. In a couple of, actually, right now, a couple of seconds ago, the settlement been done, which is every 30 days. So I think we had a settlement on live on a demo. I think it's the first time, but anyway, it worked. Up to now, always work, but it's nice. So, and there is more information, but now I would say most of the demo is over. I can go again deep on when, for example, now the leverage offered by the system is 1.995. Why? Because if you see here, the settlement being executed at $35,000, 35,730. Now the price of Bitcoin is a little bit higher, and what happens in the system, if you are a Bitcoin trader and want to do leverage operations, is that the BTCx leverage starts to decrease, to go lower when the price of Bitcoin goes higher. If the price of Bitcoin goes lower, the BTCx leverage will start to be higher. So that's how now it's working the BTCx operations. A lot of these things that I explained are quite advanced and are for traders that are trading Bitcoin leverage operations. So if you don't get some of these, is common. When I started, I also didn't get a lot of things. So Oleg, I don't know if you want, I can shut this and maybe answer any questions.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Manu. This was great. Really, really interesting. It's incredible to see how much is going on in like the Bitcoin world as well. There's so much focus on like Ethereum and DeFi, and there is really kind of this, like a lot of this starting to evolve on Bitcoin, which is really exciting. We do have a bunch of questions actually, so I'm gonna start from the top. Why build the L2 solution on Bitcoin and not on Ethereum?
Well, as I mentioned before, we are blockchain agnostic. When we started this, WBTC didn't exist at all. It launched, I think it was in 2019, and we started to build this protocol in 2018. We are evaluating maybe to launch this on Ethereum. We have no problem. For us, is another blockchain. The important thing, what we normally say, is about the collateral. There is some advantages, obviously, to be running on RSK. The main advantage, well, we are really fans of RSK because all that is mined and all that is done in RSK is subsidized in Bitcoin, and we are Bitcoiners. But the other really big advantage right now is the cost of the fees. For trading these tokens now peer-to-peer, it costs, as I mentioned before, very, very cheap, 100 times less than what it costs in the Ethereum blockchain. And to mint in this operation, to mint dollar on chain, and to mint any of these tokens, the same operation will cost, instead of 80 cents of a dollar, most probably will cost $80. So most of the DeFi now in Ethereum, I understand, is not for retail users, it's more for users moving a lot of money. And a lot of right now our users are not big holders. Some are big holders. We think, we don't know who are, but a lot of there is a lot of Bitcoin here, but it enables the operation, for example, of a Latin American person who is earning their salary and they want to put part of their money in a stablecoin. For example, now in Venezuela or in Argentina, to get in dollars in a bank account is super difficult. And well, with this solution, you can hold it in a token, in a decentralized, in a non-custodial wallet. So, and you can do it being a normal person. Obviously, you can use other solution on Ethereum, but it's much more expensive to trade this.
Makes sense. Then the next question was, would arbitrage trading be a possibility between BPro and BTC?
Well, always there is arbitrage possibilities. The thing on the BPro is that this oracle that we built saved the price of Bitcoin in each block. So, you know, we built all this trying to avoid any arbitrage on the protocol. If you can front run the protocol, it won't work. We don't know if any way to front run the protocol. If someone finds, please let us know if that's the question. Regarding the BPro and RBTC, BPro is more not for short-term trading. If you are a trader and you want to get more money for trading, it's more the solution is the BTCx. And maybe you will be going from dollar on chain to BTCx and back to dollar on chain. And of course, you need to be a good trader. But I don't know if I'm answering the question. Maybe I need again, maybe the person can ask.
Sure, let me just check who was. William, if you are still here, feel free to clarify your question. William Sebastianelli.
Yeah, hi, all right. Yeah, I was just I don't really know a massive amount because I'm quite new in the industry, but I was thinking possibly what you can do with wrapped BTC, as far as I know, is you can go from one exchange, you can buy wrapped BTC, and there's a slight price difference when there's a movement in normal BTC, so you can arbitrage between the two. I was just wondering if there's any similarities with that.
Well, you can, I think you can arbitrage RBTC. Actually, RBTC is a token that is traded on BitHub, I think, KuCoin, Bitfinex. There is several exchanges, and you can, and CoinSwitch, that is like another exchange at the end. And also you can use the peg. So obviously you can try to arbitrage that between the exchanges. I imagine there is already people doing that, as with WBTC. But yes, I would say if you are a Bitcoiner, the best way to mint WBTC or to redeem WBTC, no, RBTC, to mint RBTC or to redeem RBTC is using the two-way peg, the decentralized way, where you don't have, if you use the two-way peg, the decentralized way, you send 100 Bitcoins and you will get 100 RBTC. So really, obviously there is going to be a possibility because for doing this peg, you need to wait for 16 hours. So if you want to, for example, you have the demand of doing something on RSK, and for that you need RBTC, and there is no liquidity in CoinSwitch, in Bitfinex, in whatever, well, yeah, there is that. There is the same opportunity as with WBTC.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I understand.
Thank you, thanks. And the next question is from Ki Meng. I'm not entirely sure I totally understood the question, but what he was saying was, this looks like a swap. I get USD performance, you get BTC performance, or performance time X. Is that it? And I think that was that came up when we were when you were presenting the leverage token.
Well, in the case of the BTCx, in none cases it is a swap, because you are not swapping tokens. What you are doing is you are interacting with a protocol. You are not sending to someone else your RBTCs, but you are minting dollar on chain, or you are minting BPro, or you are making a position inside a smart contract. In the case of the BTCx, okay? The only difference with the BTCx is that our positions, each position has different leverage, so they are locked in the smart contract, but and you cannot trade these BTCx, but are in the smart contracts. You are not swapping against someone, but you are locking your Bitcoins inside a smart contract.
I guess my point basically was more that you're holding Bitcoin and you really want some stability, as you said, of call it US dollars. So basically I'm selling you my performance of the Bitcoins that I hold, and you give me back the US dollar performance. But in addition, you know, I get some payment in terms around leverage as well, basically, in essence. And I get payment for that.
In the case of dollar on chain, what you are, I don't know in which case you are talking about, the BTCx or the BPro?
The BTCx.
In the case of BTCx, what you are doing is you are getting a leverage position on the price of Bitcoin. So for example, now, as I shown very, very recently, the leverage is 2. So if you send one Bitcoin right now, let me check the platform, but most probably you will get one BTCx, because the price is nearly the same at this moment. And this BTCx, what will happen is if the price of Bitcoin goes up 10%, you will get 20%. And if the price of Bitcoin goes down 10%, your BTCx will lose 20%. So it's a 2x long position.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Thanks for the question as well. And then the one more question we have here from DC. How many signers are in the federation?
I think it were 15. I don't remember completely. It's 12 or 15. Actually, we are going. There is a very good blog, an interview by Chris Black. Maybe you know. Maybe I can look for that later, where he interviews Dieguito, which is Diego Gutierrez Aldivar, who is the founder, one of the co-founders of RSK. And he explains in detail all the way how it works. We are going to make an article about that, because there is a lot of questions from people. But again, the number of signatures are like, I think it's 12 or 15. I can't remember the exact number.
Okay. And yeah, I think we're coming to the end. I've got one question from my side. One thing I'm curious about: how hard are you finding it to build on RSK? I'm asking because I think I mentioned when we were speaking, I met actually one of the RSK founders in San Francisco like a year and a half ago, and it just felt like things were moving a bit slower than expected. And obviously on Ethereum, you know, there's all sorts of issues with building on it, but then still obviously there's a huge ecosystem emerging. What do you see? How difficult is it to build on RSK, and how much do you think of an ecosystem will be growing over the next years?
Well, to be sincere, first year was quite tough, because a lot of the pieces for working an ecosystem were not ready. For example, CoinSwitch first listed the RBTC to Bitcoin in January last year, And then it added, now you have a fast BTC. So now you have more options beside the centralized options that already existed. So getting RBTC sometimes is a problem because you need more ecosystem. And that was one of the things. Then there were no mobile wallets, but then came our wallet. Now you have our wallet, you have Mad Wallet in Asia, you have Defiant Wallet, so you have like 4 or 5 mobile wallets. And now you have many desktop wallets. You have Nifty, you have MetaMask, you have Liquidity. So at the beginning, and there were no exchanges, but now you have 3 exchanges. So we were the first project in the ecosystem. Now there are like more than 10, or actually there is a open finance webpage where I think it's like 40 projects that you can do things with RSK. So in that sense, Ethereum has a much vibrant, much bigger ecosystem of projects. And one of the things that people in Ethereum do is they do what they call composability. You build this here, you use this token that place, and from that place you go to another place. Yeah. So there is less options, but that's from the part of the ecosystem. So it's a new ecosystem, but it's working. That's good, and I think the first year what was the most tough is over. So you have now a stablecoin, you have a lot of things. On the part of building smart contract on Ethereum or RSK, it's exactly the same. We can deploy this smart contract in Ethereum tomorrow, and that way around too. So, sorry.
Yeah, I'm saying it's not.
But that's something that could change again. I think what we think in the long run is that the blockchain doesn't matter really in the long term, because people will go to where it's cheaper, what is more secure, where maybe they want to use it. So right now we are in RSK. Most probably we might go to other blockchain. In that sense, we are completely open. And we think the other thing around could happen. You know that Chainlink already is providing oracles in RSK. Maker had used the bridge to bring DAI to RSK. There is already several thousand tethers running on RSK using this bridge. And I've been told that there's big projects in Ethereum that are considering deploying on RSK. So again, I think we will see maybe this year, but if not this year, in the very short term, a lot of competition and a lot of projects running in several blockchains.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Thanks for that. And then I think we have a final question here, follow up from DC on his question about the number of signers in the foundation. Are they geographically displaced?
I don't know if they are public or if you are referring to the signature that signed the breach of the PEG. I think they have not made public, but again, one of the big important things, up for my knowledge, is they are not holding your Bitcoins. They are just confirming the transaction, but they don't have access to those Bitcoins in the PEG. So that's from my point of view, the most important thing to look at this solution now on
Agreed. But when you have Christine Lagarde and the comp of the controller Brian Brooks talking about regulations around stable coins, when you have actors in in areas which the regulators can press upon that person, that becomes a centralized risk in my eyes.
Yes, but from my understanding, again, even if they got all the this hard wallet that allows to sign these transactions, they will not get onto the bitcoins. They don't control the Bitcoin. They only sign the transactions.
Understood. Understood.
So it's quite decentralized.
Thank you. I think we don't have any more questions. Is there anyone else? Any final questions? I think otherwise, Devon, we can slowly call it tonight. Larry, any comments, questions? Anyone?
No.
Wow. I think that was very, very interesting, Manu. Thank you so much. I think we can still stay for a few more minutes, just in open discussion if anyone wants to write. But if not, I think we can close for the day.
I'm going to share this. Let me see if it's this. No. Yes, there is this interview from. For just $67. I'm looking this interview from Dieguito that could answer most of this question about how it works RSK. Or maybe I would strongly recommend, if there is interest on the community, to interview Dieguito or someone from RSK to explain more in detail how this second layer of Bitcoin works. Because
sorry for interrupting, man. I was going to ask one question I did have for you is when going from Bitcoin to wrap Bitcoin or Ethereum to all of these pegs and so on, is that not a taxable event?
Is that, sorry?
A taxable event that needs to be declared under law to the HMRC?
I don't know. You should, depends, most probably depending on the jurisdiction where you are based, and you should ask your tax advisor if it is taxable. I really don't know. It depends on where you are based.
Understood. Thank you.
All right. I think that's it for tonight, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. Devon, anything to add?
Nothing from my side. I just wanted to say thank you all for joining us today. We're looking forward to seeing you again next month because it's, I think, our 3-year anniversary of Crypto Mondays. Thank you so much, Manuel, for your presentation. It was very, very interesting, and I'm sure we'll connect after the call.
Thank you very much.
Thank you all, and I really appreciate if you want to test the solution in testnet or mainnet. Obviously, we welcome and any feedback at all. This is a horrible protocol, a very nice protocol. Wherever we have a chat in Telegram, but this been built for Bitcoiners. So if you like Bitcoin and you want to make some more usage of it in different ways, well, that's why we have built this.
Thank you. Sounds very interesting. We will try it out.
Thank you all. Thank you for your time.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Have a good time.